In this lesson, we're going to look at how to change the subject of a formula and what that actually means. Now, so far in maths, we've learnt quite a lot of formulas, and also in science, you have done the same, and even in other subjects as well. So, here's the formula for a cone, a sphere, and a cylinder. But what if we wanted to rearrange that formula so that height was the subject, i.e., height was over here and it was h equals, or the radius was r equals. Now, usually the subject of the formula is the one that appears on the left hand side, and then everything else is on the right hand side, and you're able to work that subject out by inputting numbers into the other side. You might have seen this before in the speed distance time section, where you use the speed distance time triangle, and this allows you to rearrange the formula to speed equals, speed being the subject, or distance equals, speed times time, and then time equals. This is often handy to use instead of trying to do it once the numbers are in, create a new formula. Now, I'll just show you a basic idea of this. Here's a formula here, C equals B over A. And say we wanted to make the subject A. So you would have to use rules to do that. And if I click this button, then that's how to make the subject A. Say I wanted to make the subject B, then you would do this. Now, you might not know how this works, but that's the idea. I'm going to teach you that. And then say I wanted to make C the subject. Now, the way this works is it must work with numbers. Because if it doesn't, the letters stand for numbers, so if it doesn't work with numbers, it's not going to work with letters. So this line means divide. So is 3 equal to 6 divided by 2? Well, yes. So how do we make the 2 the subject? What do we have to do with the 6 and the 3 to get an answer of 2? Well, you divide. And how do I make the 6 the subject? What do I do with the 2 and the 3? We have to times them, don't you? And again, back to 3 being the subject, what do I have to do with the 6 and the 2? You have to divide them. Now, there are rules to doing these types of things. And the rules come from, here's some more formulas if you want to look at them, loads of formulas. These are Newton's formulas, Leibniz formula for kinetic energy, potentially. There's tons of formulas to be able to do this. So, the rules, when changing sides, you must undo each operation. So, for example, if there's an add there and you're trying to change the subject, you want to change that to the opposite of an add, which is a takeaway, which is very similar to things that happened in algebra when you're doing equations. If there was a multiply, now what's the undoing operation? It's a divide. If there's a squaring function, then you square root. And if there's a tan function, which will not be here, that would be inverse tan. But that's the idea behind this, undoing things and undoing operations. So we'll look at just briefly 4 examples, maybe 5 examples actually, and how this would work. So here we go. I've got a formula here, A plus B equals C, and I want to change the subject to A. So this here is the left hand side of the equal sign, and this is the right hand side of the equal sign. So all I want on the left hand side is the A. I don't want the B there. I want to just have A equals. So I'm going to keep the C there, but what do I have to do to the plus B to undo it, if you like? Well, you would take away the B, and now A has become the subject. And that's your formula complete. Obviously, these are simpler ones. They get more complicated, but that's the general idea. Okay, let's look at the next one. So on the left-hand side, I've got P, on the left-hand side of the equal sign. On the right-hand side, I've got Q plus R. Now I'm trying to make Q the subject. That's a bit in the circle here. Now I quite often do this, called a common sense line. I'll get the Q over here. I'll just switch both sides about, like this. So you see the right hand side became the left hand side, and the left hand side became the right hand side, because I wanted the subject on this side. Now I've got a plus R. I don't really want a plus R there. I want to kind of take that over to the other side, if you like, to leave me with the Q. So I need to do the opposite of it. So I need to take it away. So it's P, take away R. Okay, let's look at some divisions and multiplies. So I've got E equals F over G. And I'm trying to make F the subject here. Now again, it's on the wrong side for me, so I'm going to switch them around. Like that. I've just made the right hand side and the left hand side, and the left hand side the right hand side. That's absolutely fine. Now F is on the correct side for me. Now I've got a divide by G, but I want the G over to the other side. So I need to do the opposite undoing of dividing by G to leave me with F, which is timesing by G. Put a wee times sign in there. So when you undo a divide, you multiply. Okay, same idea here. We've got V equals IR. If you know this formula, it's voltage is current times resistance. But anyway, let's switch sides because the subject's on the right hand side. I always want it on the left hand side. So I'll switch it round. Then I've got I times R. So when I want to undo timesing by R, take the R on our side, I want to divide by R. Okay, last one. So the last one I'm going to look at here is this. The B is on the wrong side here, but it's been taken away. So to get that to the other side, what I do with this kind of thing is I add it to the other side. So you'll see here I've got the B on the other side, not by switching sides. It's the fact there's a takeaway in front of it I don't like, and I like to have the subject always as a plus, so I plus that on to the other side. Now to finish, I've got an A plus B. So that's been added. The A's been added. I know it's at the front, but it's still been added. So I want to do the opposite of that. I want to take it away.